Then
I missed you too today. And I missed you, Kim. I mean, like, in here.
deep in your heart.
In here. But hey, we got the live coming up, so we're going to talk about that a little bit too.
The in person.
In person.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that.
This is going to be fun.
Tell them where it is.
May 16th.
18th. Okay.
18th.
I'm like May 16th.
May 18th. Now I gotta take.
Let me get in this camera because
I'll do the address. We know I'm going to get that right.
May 18th, which is a Saturday. We typically have it earlier in the day. We're gonna have it at 3 o'clock. We've heard your cries. We've heard you guys say, please have it later in the day. So now we're gonna have it later. It's gonna be from 3 to 5, May 18th. Please mark your calendars. And you want to give the address of the 16th Street Bar?
It's going to be at 16th Street Bar, 75 East 16th Street, Chicago, Illinois.
That's the movie phone voice.
you sound just like it too. Really, it's like the best voiceover.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Relationship readiness.
Yes.
That is, woo! We had a little brief conversation about this, maybe a month or so
we
ago.
We try not to have pre-conversations, but let me tell you, our conversations that we have are very organic. They're not scripted, and they usually are generated from
us just talking. Right.
Talking.
Which
People
is,
sharing things with us, and then she and I have a conversation. Gary, chimes in and tells us his thoughts.
And we're like, okay, we're going to use that one for conversations over here. Don't talk about it anymore, right?
Don't say anything else. Because we want it to be an organic conversation.
Absolutely.
So when I say relationship readiness, I'll ask you, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, you putting it on me already?
I can get you there.
I think
I'm indiscriminate.
We're interchangeable?
No, I didn't say that.
When I think of relationship readiness, I think of romantic relationships, not like, brother, sister type stuff, obviously. But, romantic relationships. I just think of, are you ready to be inclusive with your life, with sharing your long, or that they just don't know how to be inclusive. So I remember a long time ago, not a long time, maybe last year or 2 years ago, the three of us were sitting in a restaurant, and I said, I was newly divorced, and I said that a red flag for me would be a man who had never been married, who had no kids, and you were like, well,
that's me.
And I said, because women are nurturers. So I think a woman who's never been married and who has no kids could still be, could potentially, I guess, still be relationship ready. I don't think that way of most men. And I know I'm making blanket statements, but that's how I feel. I think you need to be able to be considerate and inclusive of someone else. And some people just are not ready for that. And communication. They're not ready to do that either.
So.
I'm done.
Okay. So Janae, when I say relationship readiness, what does that mean to you?
It means a conversation that one needs to have with themselves first and foremost. The wonderful thing about being in casual relationships is that you can be footloose and fancy free. You don't have to be accountable to anybody. Your time is your own. You don't have to worry about someone having some grandiose expectation of you or many expectations of you. You can come and go as you please, and you don't really have to answer to anybody.
In a non-committed relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so casual relationships is what I was talking about. Like just casual, not monogamous.
Okay.
And so when you are talking about a relationship, for me, it's like you have to think about you are now intertwining your individual life with someone else's. And that means things like concessions, things like compromise, things like you can't have it your way all the time because there's someone else to consider. And these are things that I think that people don't necessarily think about when they're very interested in someone who has caught their attention, that, the
That's
sparks are
very
flying.
true. That's very true.
They don't think about when the honeymoon phase is over. Do I have personally what it takes to sustain a relationship? Not just a relationship with this person that I'm fancying, but in general, do I have the wherewithal to not be so selfish and be more selfless? Do I really want to spend, every weekend with this person? Is this poom poom
He flinched when you said that.
this poom poom gonna be enough for me? This one poom poom, you know what I mean? And I don't know necessarily if people want to have that conversation with themselves. I talk to myself often, like literally out loud. But
I do that in the car.
I mean, I'm my best listener. And, I like to hear things out loud. Sometimes they stick in my head better. They're kind of engraved in my
Right.
in my head, and my heart, and my thoughts, and they're in the forefront of my mind. So speaking out loud, whether they be affirmations, I feel like relationship readiness is a choice. You need to be ready every day, choose somebody every day, and it can't necessarily be you every day. So.
What about you, Gary?
It has I mean, you all talked about a lot of the things that I consider, I think about. But I also think about that, I'm probably not going to meet somebody that hasn't already been in a relationship.
I hope not.
Well, it could be okay. But,
Do you really want to? Do you really want to be a
At this
teacher?
age?
I'm getting her fresh out the nunnery. Come
Right.
here, girl.
The nunnery.
Come here, girl. Come on over here. Let me show you how they do it outside the covenant. So, no. I mean, I look. I know I'm going to hell. You need me to say hi to anybody?
All my friends are in heaven. No.
But I mean, I look at it in terms of a person necessarily coming out of a relationship. So number one, are you done or over that person? And number two, are you healed?
Very good. Very good.
And so, sometimes, and I mean, I find out more and more lately that I'm asking somebody like, hey, let's slow down. Let's get to know each other. Let's be friends first. Let's let the relationship grow out of the friendship and not really just, kicking into the lust part of it. And so for me,
So you've had those conversations?
I had
That's
to.
good. That's good.
You know the type of stuff
I
I be
mean,
getting myself into.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's good.
I had to though. I mean, I didn't. I would love to sit here and say it like I could spell epiphany or actually have one, but it's more of a situation where I couldn't keep doing the same things and getting the same results, and knowing that I'm the common denominator. So I had to have those conversations with myself, and it's better for me to step back now and say, well, hey, wait a minute, let's communicate. Where are you? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about your ex-person? I don't care how long ago it was. Because people will pine after someone for years.
Yes. That's the reason why many dating relationships don't work, because you don't know that you're in a relationship with somebody who is still pining for someone else.
And so, I found, it's been my experience, that developing a friendship first, that gives us something to build on. If we give in to the lust, then, that has consequences. And if the lust is not good enough to sustain a relationship, then that's a problem. So it's easier for me to just kind of take a step back and, I really had a conversation with that person. Hey, are you healed?
That is like so
profound coming from
it
him.
is. Well, yeah, all that, but no, really, like old question when we were kids. How many people have you did the? This is the new question that you should be asking people. Forget how many sexual partners that you've had. Make that secondary. This relationship that you just got out of. When was it? How long
How
did
long ago was it? How long did it last?
How long did it last? That's
Yes.
the big question. Like, what am I dealing with here?
Yeah.
Right. When does he get parole?
Does he realize that he's not in a relationship with you anymore? I mean, these are things that before you jump into something, I think are very valid questions and fair questions. And anybody who is like standoffish about not wanting to answer those questions, that would be a red flag.
Yeah, I agree.
And it for me, it makes it better if we're friends. Because if we're not friends, we don't really have anything to fall back on. And there are going to be tough times in every relationship. And I mean, myself included, there are just a lot of people out here that are not really truly healed to the place
Yeah.
that they
That
need
is
to be.
so true.
Yeah, I agree.
And we
And
don't.
they're actually they haven't. I'm sorry, they haven't been healed from 4 relationships back, and they've just been carrying nasty baggage.
Keep
all
making the
way.
same mistakes over and over again with a different person.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But we're not taught to be healed. We're taught to be strong. You're a strong black woman.
Suck it
you
up.
can do it.
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad. You're
Yeah.
better than that. But at some point,
Go to church.
You have to take an inventory. I mean, to your example, the person that keeps repeating the same thing for 4 relationships. You know, there has to be some healing in there. There has to be a part of it where, you know, you at least choose a better version of the person that keeps messing up your life. So, and that's where I find myself. So when I hear relationship readiness, are you healed? Are you in a healthy place to take that next step? Are you done with that last person?
And even when you're in a relationship with someone and something happens and you have your first fallout, or you have to think about how that person reacts. As you know, do they have
A
fight or
tantrum.
flight? Do they shut down, or do they want to stick it out? You know, that person may not be ready for a relationship. If every time you have a fallout, or and their first reaction is to walk away and start over, because I just had this conversation with someone, because some people do find it easier just to walk away and start over with someone new.
We were talking about that.
Was it you and I?
But for sure, she's right.
It's
The path of least resistance.
it's definitely, you know, a strategy
Right.
or a coping mechanism or whatever you want to call it. But what I found too is that, you know, when we had that relationship readiness conversation, and I say, hey, you know what, it's obviously that we want to, you know, get horizontal with this, but, and I didn't want to risk the relationship over the friendship. So I got to know him.
You didn't want to risk the friendship over the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. The opposite way, yeah. Because one is lasting and the other one could be fleeting.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
I personally am an advocate for sure about taking your time before introducing sex into your relationship. I believe that is the reason why my relationship has lasted so many years, because that is truly my best friend. That is my homie. I like to have fun. I like to gossip with him, even though he's only going to let me do that so much. But I mean, I trust this person. And, you know, I believe in relationships. You got highs and lows and peaks and valleys. And, you know, if you are friends with somebody and you know them, you probably can weather the storms of the ups and downs. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're thoughtful and you're intentional, and you're always wanting the best for them. You're going to make sure that they're 100, that they're good,
Right.
and vice versa.
And I tend to be a little bit more invested in a friend. If I just like you, you know, it's just that I like
You
you.
just like them.
But if you're my friend, then it's certain things that for somebody that I like, you know, I might do something to whereas somebody that I like that happens to also be my friend, it's a higher level to that, and it's you know, I'm more discerning in terms of what I will do.
True. I mean, like, you know, boyfriend and girlfriends, they come and go. It's your prerogative to be in a relationship with somebody, and it's your prerogative not to. But that's not how we look at friendships. You know what? I'm not going to be your friend today. You know, we don't do that. Your friend is your
You
friend.
shouldn't. I mean,
Right.
I know I have
Well,
a
yeah.
close friend who one of her friends is like that. It's like every other month they're not speaking. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But you had said,
Right.
let me 1 second. You had said something earlier, just thumb checking it real quick, that every time you get into a tiff, this person does this and this person does that. They may not have any, what I would like to call stick to itness.
Yeah.
But honestly, in the getting to know you phase, I mean, don't get me wrong, disagreements, okay. I don't really want to be experienced
The
that,
person-
because
if
that
you're
would make
in a
me feel
relationship
like
with
they.
somebody and their
Well, we're
first-
talking about relationship readiness, and so I was just thinking, that to
I
me
know.
would be like, you might like to argue too much.
But there
For
are
me.
sometimes people are in relationships with people that they realize later they were never relationship ready. So it's not just about you. It's about maybe the person that you're with is not relationship ready, and you realize it later because like their fight or flight kicks in at every disagreement, and it's like I'm walking out.
Yeah. Or it's not really a disagreement that you even think you're having, but in their mind it's a disagreement, you know.
But in talking about disagreements, one of the things that we fail to realize, or sometimes we don't always bookmark, is that there are some people that get along better in controversy. There are people that, in order for them to love you, they have to kind of hate you a little bit, or at least hate you from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah, those people who thrive in toxicity and
Chaos.
chaos. That's not healthy. That's not healed, as you were.
But you get two of them together, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's
I think
somebody
that's a
every
learned
day.
behavior, and it's probably something they've experienced early on and just have perpetuated in their adult life.
Sounds like the Joker and his girlfriend to me.
But that is not, to me, that doesn't sound peaceful at all.
It's certainly not something that I would envision or aspire to or any of that. But I have had to. It's helped me to realize that certain people just work better in a conflict environment,
Yeah.
and that's their jam.
And then, what brings you happiness may not be what brings them happiness. You know, you have some people that feel like I'm going to be the boss in this relationship and you're going to listen and then we're going to be happy. And don't get me wrong, I am a traditional girl. I do believe in letting the man lead, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a mute. You know what I mean? I have nothing to offer to the conversation. There is no growth in that.
Right.
You know, you don't leave a space. If you don't leave a space for a conversation, you can't hear me. There is no communication and there is no space for understanding. And that to me is pretty much stunting the growth.
Right. Yeah.
And that person probably isn't ready for a real relationship either.
But I think that relationship readiness is important because as we've evolved, we have to be better at things. We have to not continue to make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And you have to, kind of do that assessment in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what Janae was saying. That was one of the first points. What do I need? Am I worthy? Some
That
people go into
conversation
relationships and they don't
with
feel
yourself.
worthy. So
It's true.
and it reflects. And then people buy what you're selling. They like if you project yourself like I'm the shit, I'm the queen. People start to see you like that. But if you project yourself like I'm really not worthy, I don't really know, and that person's going to treat you like that.
You manifest it.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. So I think that you really do have to feel like I'm worthy of love and I'm worthy of respect. So
Not just worthy. I mean, that's like the minimum level. I think that you have to be like, I deserve.
and deserve it. That's correct.
So, relationship readiness to me is like if we move right past we're friends, we got to know each other, this is what we're deciding to do. I believe that you need to, if you're truly ready, be able to see yourself victorious in this relationship. You have to be able to close your eyes and
Like
see
a race.
what the future,
Envision it.
yes, looks like. And it needs to be everything that makes you happy.
Right.
And then that is what should like spirit, you through and just keep you going in the right direction. But if you are somebody who's dealing with a very pessimistic person who is always complaining and it's just their appetite for anything and everything is insatiable, you can't fill their cup no matter how much you try.
That's right.
You have to realize that you're going to go out the world backwards dealing with this person. Now, do you throw them in the trash? Maybe you say you need to get some help, and then we can see where this goes. But you do have to put stock into yourself. You do have to do that. You have to say, you're not my person right now. Let me keep
And
looking.
you might not ever be.
You
You
might
might
not ever.
realize that too.
And I think that there has to be some goal alignment. We are headed in the same direction. I mean, it doesn't matter how much we love each other. If we're headed in different directions, it's not going to work. I mean, we can have periods of happiness, but if we're not aligned, eventually that divide is going to be too great to overcome. And that's why I think the relationship readiness is so important to do an assessment, and not just in the beginning, But as you go along, are we doing the things that we said we are going to do? One of the worst things that ever happened was, I had somebody tell me that you wasted my time.
Somebody told you that?
Yeah. We said we were going to do this. I thought you were going to get better. I gave you not an
Yeah.
ultimatum, but I gave you, a report card, and you brought it back with straight D's. And not
You
the D's that I wanted either.
These are still these are still passing.
Barely.
But
Right.
to your point earlier, why do we want to just pass? We don't want to survive. We want to thrive.
We want to thrive. Absolutely.
So I mean,
I don't want to half-ass do anything.
I mean, now if you my summer fling, it's okay to get D's during the summer semester. But if you my lifetime, you my everything, then I at least want to have a B average.
See, but there's again the difference between that casual relationship, casual flings, versus somebody who is really ready to commit to somebody, be in a monogamous relationship. And don't get me wrong, I do realize relationship readiness could be ready for a polygamous type of
True.
situation. So
It could be a
I'm
polyamorous
saying monogamous
relationship.
because that
That's
is
true.
for me. But yeah, are you
Relationships mean different things to different people.
Absolutely.
So you're right.
Right. Are you
But-
ready to be the side chick, or the side person, or
And you know what? And there's something that's, I know you're joking, but there's something to
oh
be,
man, they ain't worded. No, I'm just kidding.
but there's something to be said for that too. Because then you see all these, the side chick is supposed to be quiet and on the side, and the macaroni and cheese, but she decides, no, I want to be the chicken,
I'm
and
steak.
and she wants to go
I wanna
and
be the
tell.
whole
She wants to
pot
go and
roast.
tell. Right.
Right.
She wants to go and tell the world and share the information. That wasn't your role, so you weren't ready to be the side chick. Or some people get into relationships with. Some women get into relationships with guys who say, I don't want a monogamous relationship. And the women think that they can change his mind. I'm going to put it on him.
yeah.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to cook dinner.
I'm a cook for 'em.
Yeah.
So
That's not how this works.
how do you feel like you would qualify a woman? Because I think it's all about the qualification process. Like, it's fine for us to have a conversation with ourselves, but when you're getting to know somebody, what are the top 5 things that you need to know to make sure that person is ready for love, right?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I try to do, I'm not always successful at it, is that I want to share the things, I want you to be my partner that I talk to. I want to be able to bounce ideas off of you. And I'm going to slip in some goals. Some of it is going to be aspirational, but some of it is happening in real time. And I want to see how you line up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not really getting, what I need, and I don't need you to parrot what I say. I need you to also be that person that's like,
Right.
that's crazy and you're gonna die. I need to hear that. But I want somebody that, some divides are just too far to bridge. So I want to kind of get some buy-in on some things that are important to me and see if that's something that we can be aligned on, or, at least parallel.
So the questions, though, I wanted you to
She
really
wants you
give
to
me,
name the top 5.
or if not questions, categories.
No, I mean, a very good question that I ask, do you see us being together? Do you think that you could be with me long term? What is it about me that I could do better that I'm not doing now, or that's going to make you or keep you happy?
So these are, what was your question again? You want him to name the 5 things that he would think
Excuse me?
about before he got into a relationship?
No, he's met someone. He's already had the hard conversation with himself that he's ready. What are the 5 top questions that he's going to be trying to ask her to get the information that he needs
Okay.
to make sure that she is actually ready?
What do you want? Am I doing the things that you need me to do? Do you see us being together? Those are questions that I'm going to ask.
So those are questions that pertain to you. I think you realize that, but they're all questions about like
Do you
asking
see
her.
us being together?
Yeah. So
What do you want?
sometimes that epiphany
I can't spell it, Steve.
happens in a relationship and you realize you didn't know enough about them. So you're trying to gather information about what can I do, and it's still all very you centered, but that's where we have to get out of ourselves and not make it about ourselves and really find out who they are. Because when you are in it and you're like, damn, I didn't see that. Because it has nothing to do with you.
I'll say this. I mean, I definitely agree with your point. You have to find out about people. Have to get to know them, and you have to, see the things that you probably sometimes don't want to see. But one of the things
That's true.
one of the things about getting older is that I have been able to, to ask kind of the questions. I mean, if I'm your friend, we're talking about stuff. I'm picking up on stuff. And, structure is very important to me. So what structure do you come from? I mean, it's not like I can't date you if you didn't have a
That's
father.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you
'Cause that's
didn't,
important.
if you didn't, then I know that maybe I have to approach you about different stuff in different ways.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with your mom? How do you all get along? So those are the types of things that I'm bookmarking, and I'm asking more probing questions on a friendship level.
Yeah. And that's how I feel like you need to move. Like,
I
forget
totally
the
agree.
whole thing about what can I do, what can you do for us, our thing. But really, as a person and choosing them as a friend, you know what I mean? That's the way to go about it because you find out so much about people. And then yeah, the epiphany will happen. Like, I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to spell it. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I promise you, I can't. I know it's an F in there somewhere. It should be if it ain't.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have to ask those questions. You have to get to know people. But we're talking about relationship readiness, and if or that person is ready to be in a relationship, or
Or
but-
Or you.
or that's what I said, you or that person.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I've talked to so many people who have been in relationships, even marriages, and they realize within the first year, this person wasn't ready for a relationship. They weren't ready. So, and you think that because you've spent time with this person, you thought that they were. But then when it comes down to it, they really weren't ready to share themselves, to share their lives. So,
Or the expectations, like I had
Yeah.
said before, are just too great for them.
it's too great.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not what they envisioned.
Right.
They thought it would be easier. Yeah.
And even when you do those little trial things, like you say, well, I'm not going to live with you, but we can go on vacation. I mean, a person would have to be pretty hard pressed to be in some place that we would go and not be able to have a good time, not present their best self. If you argue with me on a vacation, that's a deal breaker. That lets me know, first, last, and only. We
You
done.
can't argue with me. You mean if you can't compromise? Not
You
that-
mean like if you take them to Rome and they want to go see something and then you say, I've already done that before. We can't go.
That, or you want me to...
He said that.
Say it again now.
Right. You were supposed to be like, no, never that.
No, or you the person is like you can't compromise. Like you get up early in the morning and you like we got to do everything under the sun before 7:00. And I'm like, man, I'm on vacation. I get up
Yeah.
at 7:00 for people that I don't even like.
cannot.
I like you.
I mean, I'm gonna get up early to go work out,
But that's
I'm
it's gotta
not.
be compromised.
I ain't gotta go with you. You gonna let me?
You do not, and I don't. Traveling with people who have to make it a field trip. We gotta do all these 50 things. I'm like, oh, jeez, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I like to just chill.
But see that that's kind of a window into what kind of person that person is
Right.
on vacation.
Right.
Because are you able to compromise? Yes, I've seen those things already. But this is your first time. I know that you want to do those things. I'm going. I don't have to like it, but I'm going. But those
But you wouldn't be a sourpuss about it. You wouldn't be like,
I have very low minimum standards, so I'm not trying to have my vacation wrecked. I'm not trying to wreck the vacation.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that this conversation is super important, and I hope that, if nothing else, that everybody listening starts to implement this. Like, because it's guesswork. If you aren't having the conversation.
It's so much that goes into it, not just like, oh, she got a fat ass, or he got money, or he's gonna take me out. Or
What
he's
looks
nice.
good to you may not be good for you.
No, all that
long
glitters
term.
is not gold.
Right.
Yeah, relationships.
Or short term, might not be good for you, period. But yeah.
Relationships are work.
I can make anything work for
I
10
love
days.
being in a relationship, but
Can't help yourself.
I love being in a relationship, but I want to be in a relationship with somebody who's ready for the work, who's ready not for the work, but who wants to include me in his life.
It no longer is I, it's we.
And
Yeah.
who's gonna match
You know?
your work? Because you're gonna pour into it. So you want an equal pour. You want
That's
somebody
right.
that's gonna pour at the same rate
Right.
as you, the same
No,
amount.
I don't want to pour up the cup and that person puts like a piece of crushed ice in there, like that's
good,
it.
girl?
So now it's ours.
Give it about
It's
15
magically,
minutes to
it's
chill.
magically ours now. Right?
Yeah. So it's
But
it's
but
a
you want
beautiful thing.
you want someone that's gonna match your work, and I get that, and that's fair. That's a reasonable ask.
Yeah.
The other part of it, this actually is going to lead us into another show because we probably need to do people that are in existing relationships. Do you have a checkup? How do you check the health of your existing relationship?
That's a good one.
It is really good. I'll save it for later, but it's a lot that I learned in therapy that I still do. But you do it innately after it's become a part of your life, which is,
But I don't want to take the audience's job because we need you all to give us more show ideas because at the end of the day, we're just the people that you see on television. It's your show. We want to hear from you. We want your content. We want you to give us
We
ideas.
do. Relationships are beautiful. The feeling of belonging to someone is great. But what if you're in a relationship with somebody who is not including you? Drop your comments wherever you are.
they
Facebook,
just were not
Instagram.
ready. Or you find out that you
YouTube.
weren't ready for it.
Right. Right.
You feel like I bit off more than I can chew.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Share with us. And we want to remind you
May
that
18th.
May 18th at 3 p.m., 3 to 5 p.m. at 16th Street Bar.
75 East 16th Street, Chicago, Illinois.
We are having an in-person event. Please join us.
It is going to be very, very fun. We're going to have a great time. We got many conversations for you and a surprise.
Can I talk to that segment of the audience that's going to hear what I'm going to say?
What you getting ready to say? If
you ain't been to one before, you are lacking. You need to get your stuff together. Come on out and have a good time. Nah, we get a great time. We don't get good time. Good time.
Yeah,
Good
so,
time.
Yeah, it's
Some
not,
people
it's not big
think-
enough.
Yeah,
some people think like, do I want to come out to a bar to talk? I want to come out to drink. Why can't you do both?
Right.
You can come drink and have a conversation. Grown folks conversation.
You might learn something. You might pick up something. You're going to have fun. It's going to be great. Okay, we're going to use better words. It's going to be legendary. It's going to be epic.
Yeah.
So we'll see you on May 18th.
We will. All right, guys.
Have a great night.
Love you.
Drop those comments.
I'm shutting us down.
I'll help you.
Thank you.
I think I'll help you.
There's one. Okay, got them both.
It's my mother. Yes, I took the keys without realizing it. They're on the table now.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.